If you missed map 1, it started a whole lot different than it finished as 9Z came out the gate swinging, but the guard quickly adapted, figured out what was going on, and after a few huge clutches, they completely took over the game and ended up sealing the deal there for map number 1, which was Ascent. But now we're moving to Lotus. Again, this is kind of an interesting map pool. We talked about this. We weren't really sure who picked what at first. I was almost like, well, wait a minute. Like, this kind of feels backwards because, Roy, if we remember correctly, this was at one point in time a very good map for the guards. So the fact that they're not the ones that pick it, but it's actually 9Z, and the fact that Ascent was also a map that was potentially pretty good for 9Z, it was just a really weird map pick ban.
Yeah, they definitely threw us for a loop. And I think from like 9Z's perspective, like if you recall last time the guard played Lotus against M80, it really did not go so well. So if you're the IGL, you're the coaching staff, you're kind of looking at that history, right? You're seeing like, oh, maybe guards comp is super readable. They probably don't have any confidence in it. So it's kind of like an obvious sort of talking point for 9Z, and it's sort of obvious talking point for us as well here on the desk, because that's really all we have to go off of, right? But one final thing to keep in mind here, guys, is that there's been quite a long period since then. There's easily could have been changes made by the guard for that Lotus. So there could have been comp swaps, there could have been comp changes, there could have been some adjustments made, maybe no comp changes at all. But in terms of how they're approaching the map, that could have changed as well for the guard.
I kind of wonder, will we see a duelist swap? We've seen a lot of teams favor a Raze on the map instead of playing a Jet, or maybe we'll see something even more peculiar. We did already get to see Neon and Yoru today. I am not holding it completely out of possibility because we've just seen maybe something I wouldn't have anticipated seeing coming into the day. Again, though, when you look at their track record on the map, 13-8, 13-11, 13-10, 13-5, 13-10, 13-7, 13-6, 13-3, that's a lot of history before they finally lost to M80, but they did lose to M80 pretty badly, 13-1. I mean, they got smacked. And that's the swap I was talking about. So we will see a change. They're not going to run a Sky. They're actually going to run a Fade, and they are going to run the Raze. So, Starry, a little bit of a comp change coming in from the guard.
I kind of like the comp change because, as you said before, the guard has so much like time played on that map. There's so many VODs of them out there, you know, and after defeating that loss against M80, that 13-1, I think they just decided, hey, like, we're getting really predictable. We need to start switching things up. And they come in with like a fresh new comp coming in this. And 9Z on the other half has like the same comp that they've played before.
Guys, really quick. This comp looks really familiar, doesn't it? Look at M80's comp last time guard played them. It's the same exact comp. They yoinked their comp.
Well, I guess we'll see if they have the same success or not. We've got our casters standing by ready to see what the guard brings to the table with this new composition here in map number 2. Dryad, Tanner, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, an interesting one here. The guard makes some changes. 9 times they played that Harbor comp, but a new look here in Ascensions for them as they mix it up. Dryad, and I mean, Fade is an agent that Trent has played, and they kind of sauced it in on a couple of other maps, right? We've seen it on the Pearl, we've seen it on the Fracture. Now we get it here on Lotus.
I remember a couple months ago, somebody was telling me about a Fade and Lotus. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then it was like Fnatic was playing it a bunch. And then we started seeing a lot more in Tier 2. So now I'm happy that we get to see it from the guard, especially from Trent, who has some cool ideas into this. And I think I talked about the flexibility of this guy. We've seen him on the Soba, we've seen him on the Raze, but on Fade as well, he's a danger. We've seen what he's capable of doing when he was playing this Fade in Fracture before. And it is the exact same kind of idea with maybe what he can do with the Odin. I mean, if we remember that match in Challengers where he was just going insane.
And they've done their homework, that being the guard, expecting an early 1-3-1, some early B aggression. That's where they set their eyes in a lot of these attacking rounds, but the space has been taken right back.
Spike
to the 1-for-1.
down,
The Omens hop
spawn.
their way into the kill feed, but that's the spike down, Dryad.
It's gonna be the V down on the side of Nueva. And once again, starting on this attacking side. The side that should be the strongest here for the Latam squad, but another trade and the damage as well. It's not looking great for the advantage.
30 seconds left.
And that hurts there, Thule, thinking he had some free space into the spawn, but red once more by the guard. Misu now on the Sky. It'll look to get something done. Rugoide playing that second duelist for
Last
the team.
player
Hunt out over the
standing.
top. Spike has
Enemy
been planted, but I mean, 28 health separates the guard from a pistol round win. We'll see if Misu can even get anything here. Too much to worry about. Fallon 3 kills on the round. This pistol does, in fact, belong to the guard.
With the momentum that we saw on the second half, it seems like, yeah, in between these maps is enough time for that reset for Nueva, but I mean, we gotta talk about it, right? After the first half, they looked kind of destroyed, kind of running out of ideas, everybody getting taken down so early on, so you're hoping that the reset, that time was enough for the squad, because what we were watching at the beginning was looking so promising between the two. And on Lotus especially, you can expect that. With the Nueva starting on this attacking side, a side that is benefiting them, bringing up this new comp, and bringing a composition that the guard never really played before.
And Trent just showing the proficiency with the Ares long-range duel going his way. Sheriff shots don't quite land for the attack. And without a Viper, I feel a lot. Now, not early in these, not in these early couple of rounds, obviously, because this one there's not a whole lot behind Nueva in it with just the sheriffs. But Degada has such a tall task to take space around the map, to play that lurk efficiently, because they don't have that Viper cut off sight lines. They usually leave it up to Degada to take the space. So we'll see if that comes to fruition in round 3. We're not quite out of this one yet, though, Dryads. Don't appease the only one to fall. David's got a Spectre in hand.
But that's just a little bit of space that they're able to get. They don't find any other kill just as they try to push forward all the way to the spawn. And the guard in the meantime has been waiting for this.
Yeah, but they bring the high pen weapons into round number 2, and there is no safe place.
30 seconds
The
left.
Ares is just crazy.
This brings me back to watching the guard, watching Trent with the Odin, and just having a silly, goofy time on this map, shooting through the paper-thin walls with that weapon.
And I feel like we're definitely gonna see that again, right? Trent, that was playing with the Odin on this map, knew exactly how the angles, how the positioning has to be for him to get the kills, the ults, I mean everything. And the Ares kind of trying to replicate that into the early rounds for the guard as they're able to secure it. That second round, and like you said, with this composition right on the other side, when you don't have the walls, that positioning, even for the post plant, does become a lot more difficult for Nueva.
No more charges left.
Early aggression out towards A, first rifle round. And it's, well, been allowed. 3-8 take here. Storms dealt with alarm bot. Pop, the second one will split the team for now. Shrouded step, Misu left on an island. And that will deal with him. That's a Bulldog kill. It's a rifle down. They gotta just around the corner as well. The Lark is there, but there's not enough bite. And another kill picked up. Nueva have the spike planted. Have a player lead. And they gotta tucks away. Rukoide finds another one. And Valen left on his lonesome. He's got a Bulldog. He's got no reason not to send it, but he's already been dealt with. No chance back into this one as Nueva find themselves their first round.
Things are pretty standard, though. It looked very simple for Nueva early on. We get to see the push. They go from A, they open that door towards 3, and there's no really any contest that they have to deal with because of the positionings that the guard had early on, kind of not even thinking about it, that area too much. And even with the weaponry that they had with the Bulldogs as well. Is going for this round specifically. Mizu already having those Seekers. Making that entry potentially a lot easier for Rukoide here. With a double duelist too.
C-site under fire. 2 defenders here. Good snake bite down from Jonah P. Trailblazer will force him back. Ned has already taken his leave. David gonna get this one down. No spam to stop that plant. So 10 still alive. Thule in a tough spot. Unfortunately, the regrowth is there. Prowler reveals. And Degada is on a mission around the map here, Dryad.
You just cannot position yourself there. The pain chills as well.
And too much to deal with, but finally making good on the lurk. The back and forth continues. Valen is having so much fun, maybe too much fun on this map as he finds another 3K. I mean, from map to map, Dryad, Valen has been insane.
Has been, not only with the reads, but also the kills when they have to come through. making sure that everybody's getting taken down, you know, even the spike. Couple extra shots for it. But yeah, like you said, making it look clean for Valorant, and this is why this guy gets often praised.
One more bend. Oh, nice, good job, guys.
Damn me up.
We're chilling. We're chilling right now. Okay.
Yeah, one
different
step,
vibe
one
for
step at
sure.
a time. One round at a time is I think the guard mentality right now.
Get out of my way.
And that is always the mentality that this team has. Wait, Trent.
Ooh, Trent was
Right, and gets taken down.
Yeah, he was trying to look away from the flash there, and because of that, took a knife to the side of the head. They do get some damage onto the jet, but the blades still march their way on through. Reveal on to the rest of the defense. I mean, Valen not in a tricky position. Rugoide will grab another, and the guard may be forced to save in this. A 2v5. Jonah P this time around. Jonah P has been sniffed out, just about taken down. Will eventually be capitalized on, and that is, well, on the other side of the map, looking to hang on to the Vandal.
One of the things that catches my attention the most about this Nueva team is you think about these players and the kind of the history that they have, the previous teams that they've been a part of, and it seems like everybody at some point was a duelist. It reminds me of those teams that were built around kind of, let's just get the best players, teach them these roles, and that's why you see kind of the flexibility, right? I mean, who's gonna be playing that duelist role? Is it gonna be Rukoide with his jet that we're seeing, Tuli with a race, but also David. Last year in Challengers, he broke records, getting 3 aces in a map for Challengers last time. Nobody ever did that, right? So everybody just kind of showing that high level just with the mechanics alone, no matter what the agents are gonna be looking like. And part of it is just the building process that coach had from the beginning for Nueva this year.
Cover going out.
A flawless round in the last, and that could be, you mentioned the players, the coaches. Well, now this Nueva team has a bit of wind beneath their wings. They're gonna tie us up to set their eyes once more on this C site. Door opening. I mean, at the start of this round, noise made out towards Mound. The door's been open to kind of set some paranoia in, and I mean, the guard expected a quick hit, and they've rotated everybody over to C.
Everybody, yeah. All of the 5 players of the guard. With a buy that's not the greatest on this defensive side, stacked towards C. Not where the hit, not where the play seems to be coming from, but because of that, the guard can just get that information. They go for the swing, they realize, hey, nobody's here. Nobody shows Mountain, so that means, once again, rotation is going to be coming through with everybody. Those are at least some great opportunities for the trades when the buy isn't the greatest.
And Nueva that's still doing their due diligence, so all the util to clear out this site just as they would if there were players on it. Up goes Rugoide. Oh no, but the kills are starting to find their way through. Valen with the stinger finds a backstab, make it 2. Now it's all up to the Jet here, who was spotted early in the round, now taken down at the end of it, and it's a thrifty victory for the guard.
I mentioned the trades that the guard needed, especially when they were all playing together, all making that rotation, but they didn't need it. It was just the kills coming through. Too much to take care of for Nueva as they tried getting that positioning for that post plan, but the guard not allowing the space to do so. Clean one. And necessary, that is the rounds that he talked about, right? The big rounds that the guard needs to win, they always win those.
And it's impossible to get any semblance of momentum moving forward if you're losing rounds like that. Now Tex has an operator, and he's made his presence known, finding that early kill onto Tuli.
Having to back up just for a second because of that snake bite from that defense. Getting like not gonna spot anything, but the play does have to change for Nueva here. The B attempt gets denied thanks to the operator. Everybody now towards A. Can still be a pivot to B, but without one of the players.
I mean, a second chance at life there. They gotta just survive the timing as that smoke went down. The back and forth continues. Spike down in a tough spot. Tex will eventually make good on those shots, finding and collecting kills. Rupkoide helps to open up this site. He's with a tap onto the spike. Tex now will try his hand with 19 HP. He's being held up. And down to the 2v2 we go. With that, the guard not comfortable, so they'll force the lockdown.
In the meantime, for Misu, the spike is gonna get planted. Gonna run away to retreat, but you know exactly where this is gonna be.
Wow, Rupkoide goes absolutely nuts this round, opens things up and closes the door in the face of the guard. A round they thought they had in their hands, but it's stripped away.
Another one of those scenarios for Nueva said that where they have to adapt, they have to go for the mid-round adaptation because of the guard, but this time around, they're able to come up on top.
Turret out.
The lockdown as well being utilized by Ned, trying to give that space, but like you said, pretty much it's Rupkoide. They're going massive. 10 kills so far for the Jet of Nueva Zeta.
And this is an agent, not even a Jet player from another team that was picked up and forced to play flex. No, this guy just loves playing Jet, and he is so good at it. Any chance to play the double duelist, we really see Rupkoide shine, and he's doing it here when it matters most.
And get the support as well with the rest of the utility to allow this Jet to shine a little bit more to get those spaces. But Huli does the same, right? Forcing now for this round everybody all the way back.
Wow, yeah, they're just running at him. Up goes Tex, launches out the rocket and gets his one, but the damage has already been dealt by Thule. Ooh! David was not ready for that, and Trent is so proficient with that. Nightfall comes through, Rupkoide falls just before it. And now a player advantage in the retake here for the guard. Misu, they gotta adjust on the other side. Both players here on the site. Odin spans the corner. Jonah P gonna try his hand. Oh no, not like this. Trent now cuts it down to a 1v1, but he's running out of time. Misu doesn't have the angle on this, and the sky's been spotted. Trent knows he'll capitalize on the time that he has as the jump is still being held. The shots, they aren't quite landing. Trent's gonna sink it, and the guard are gonna win it.
But this positioning for the spike to be planted, like you said, no vision there. You can only jump but shoot at the same time is a different story, and even lining up. Nueva said that they lose the round because of it in that 1v1. Once again, played to perfection by Trent. And we start to see what we talked about, right? Trent with this Odin starting to find success, gets that spike defuse, get that last kill.
What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? What is that?
Well, surely that calls for a timeout. A little bit of miscommunication in how they wanted to play that one. You see it on the players' faces, the coaches' faces here for Nueva Zeta. I mean, it's still a close game, but rounds like that, you have to take them away. You look back to the retake on A, the thrifty victory for the guard. Right after, Nueva Zeta just found themselves a thrifty round win. Then you jump into the next one, and you almost claw your way back in from a 2v3, a deficit, and then it slips away like that. That is, I mean, we're 8 rounds in, about to jump into our 9th triad, and you could tell the morale, the vibes are low. If you jumped into a vibe check right now with this attacking side, it probably wouldn't sound too great.
I feel like it goes back to what Nueva Zeta was saying, right? In order to win against the guard, we need the confidence. And just with the looks, it does not seem like it is the case right now. It does not seem like the confidence is there. They've gotten some good rounds, they've gotten some good kills. But the play gets denied right away. The flash is so good.
Yeah, what a read from the guard, but it might not matter. Nueva Zeta bring full fire into this fight. Outside the A site, and sure, they took some damage. They are battered and bruised, but the site belongs to them.
And the two teams having that idea towards that A side, that push initiative by the guard that at the end, or right at the beginning, was actually pretty good with the fade. He spots a couple players. The flash connects, but Nueva Zeta just waits for the flash to be over. And Rupkoide and Misu go massive on it, allowing that spike to be planted and for Net to be the last one alive here.
Here, locking sight.
He got spotted. We'll see if they go on the hunt. Economy a little shaky on both sides, so
Turret out.
Net will back away, cut the losses, and look to hang on to this rifle here. A hunt
Alarm bot out.
is coming. There's not a whole lot of time for Nueva to be able to find this kill onto the killjoy. So a huge round. They take a timeout. They look defeated. They looked so dead. No energy in that timeout, but they come out huge. And a little bit of a misplay by the guard to not capitalize on what was a beautiful paranoia.
Yeah, the flash was good there, but the response for Nueva was perfect right when that flash was over.
Wow. And the guard call a timeout.
Yeah, back-to-back. Interesting. And something that you mentioned before for the first time that we saw that came from Nueva was, you know, the score is still close between the two, but obviously with the rounds that the guard was winning, it looked a little bit more one-sided for the last couple ones. So a guard trying to get that back, and it seems like they're in the right path to do so, even to win this 2-0, honestly. When you're thinking about how this defense has been looking, how much better they can be when it goes to swapping sides, and how those 5, they could be just enough for this squad. For a guard that knows always how to come back.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it in map 1, and we've already seen it a couple of times here. The guard is a team that, whether it be a swing round in terms of economy, which then leads to obviously momentum just because of, you know, how much economy means in this game, whether it's a swing round in terms of confidence and momentum in just itself, the guard win those rounds.
Yeah.
And so to get a thrifty for Nueva Zeta, the round where Rubgoy, they went crazy with the knives, they play out towards A, they get it done. Then the guard win it right back. Then the guard win that round that Trent diffuses, and that shouldn't be happening. And that right there is so crushing. So it's incredible that Nueva Zeta are able to come out of their own timeouts. Again, looking relatively defeated, but obviously on the server, heads held high, and take away a round when the guard were seemingly full steam ahead. That was huge. So we jump back to it in the buy. The buy kind of sucks for the guard. It's only a hero rifle.
Down A.
Net grabs 1. Out goes the hat. Information aplenty. Now only one defender is here, and Jonah P just about to get run down. 2-player swing. Neither dealt with. Nueva Zeta, I mean, they're on pace here to tie us up.
And shutting down any ideas that the side of the guard on this A side had.
Last player
Still playing
standing.
alive was Tex. Until he wasn't, thanks to they gotta valuing this all up to him for the 1v3.
He's got a little bit of time. He's making it look a little bit doable. Both duelists still alive. Now you start to hear the spike tick. Shrouded step inside the smoke. Rubgoida will challenge, and that will be enough to take away the round. So we are all knotted up. 10 rounds in, 5 apiece for both of these teams, and it's been the comeback from this attacking side.
8 rounds that we saw before this one that were back and forth as you get to see. But now, 2 in a row for this Nueva Zeta squad that has found the success, it seems like, finally into A site. They're able to play it fast. Usually nobody's contesting it besides one player up close towards 3, and they're able to take care of it just fine. So there's different ways to find success, and again, no way Tex does it.
Yeah, I mean, something we saw a little bit of, but we haven't seen a whole lot since then, is this the B presence or the pressure from Nueva Zeta's attack. They go back to it, but the guard's defense, they've always got a player there ready to challenge.
And it's going to be even more challenge now for this round for Nueva Zeta. The Viper spit active towards C. The nice, that possibility makes it at least a little bit harder, and then you have all the utility to deal with towards A. Something that wasn't really there before, wasn't too much of a necessity for Net, but now it is so to get ahead again.
Wow, beautiful flash there. They got able to capitalize on that as well, so the rest of the Killjoy utility should not matter as that spike gets planted. David able to try to step off the site. Everybody takes their leave, and guess what? It's not they got her lurking. Of course, it's the lurking jet that finds some value and maybe gets some more, but Jonah P is hot on his heels.
in time now, just against his defensive side for the retake. Just waiting for the chance. Different positionings here to take care of Jonah P. He goes first.
And do they expect some more? Yes, he does. Snake bites out. Rukoide gets tagged up by it. No way where are those bullets going. They just weren't registered. Valen gonna try his hand, but it's just too wide of a swing. A beautiful round put together with they got at the helm. 3 kills for the Cypher. Nueva, they're not stopping. The buy looks pretty rough here for the guard.
It does, especially for this last round of the half. Securing those 6 rounds, maybe that 6-6 there is a chance. The same way that we saw on the map number 1, where it really does come down to the wire, right? With a couple players alive. If this kill is just going right in time, the guard was patient for it. But this time around, not gonna be enough. In the meantime, notice that is slowly getting louder and louder here. Showstopper gonna be available.
Yeah, getting some breath back in him as Valen's forced away from this seaside. Thule goes deep
Out of charges.
with that showstopper, and they're not stopping here. Look at this, pushing all the way through, taking the fight right to the guard to get that spike planted. If you want to retake it, you're gonna have to do it from so far away. Nightfall comes through, reveals 3. Hex now, gonna try for the first duel. Rukoide gone. Trent gonna find another. Both duelists have since been erased. The flank is coming through. Trent is teeing off. And Tex comes through with one of his own. A rocket now at the feet of Degata, and there's just nothing he could do. So the guard explosive in their retake. And we're tied up again, Dryad, 6-6 at the half.
Once again, a 6-6 that makes things so competitive between the two, between the guard and Nueva. But for this one, I think the biggest highlight is Trent and that Nightfall as it comes through. That is one way to shut down that control that Nueva tried to get for the postman, right? You see them going in. You see all the 3 players committed to finding those kills. The Nightfall comes. Okay, that is the key to back up. And back up right in the hands of the other guard players, kind of waiting for their chance. Without the things are... this kind of scenario just tied up.
It's scary.
And just leaving it up to the pistol.
Yeah, I mean, attacker sided. You have to think Lotus is attacker sided. So 6-6 at the half. It you know, it feels nice and cozy, nice and comfy, but that might not be the case.
But then Nueva that only played this map once. This whole entire year. They've only played it once. They had to play for the grand finals when it's those best of 5s against All Knights.
Toxin screen down.
That was the only time where we really got to see it, so it's still a new territory for them.
In their defense, it did look good. A 13-4 victory on the first time. The only time they played it in officials. Jonah P, though, making sure that it is anything but a 13-6 here as this pistol round slowly but surely, brick by brick, is going the way of the guard.
A lot of kills were individual duels that the Sheriff from Jonah P was securing by its own. And leaving Misu and David up for the clutch. With a little bit of damage taken by both, making it pretty much impossible.
Last player standing. Flawless.
Yeah. Pretty much impossible becomes impossible. A flawless round. The guard with another pistol. I think that's 3 out of 4 for the guard on the series. Able to get that momentum moving forward, especially when it matters most, right? Especially in this series alone. With, you know, a 0-0 start, you get a little bit of wind in your wings as, you know, you find yourself a pistol round win. Then 6-6 at both halves where, you know, both teams, you're starting on common ground, but you lose a pistol. And, I mean, unless you can do something heroic here and maybe forcing up in your defense, maybe looking at, I was going to say, Rukoide with a Sheriff in his hands. This one also might be out of reach.
Bring them down.
The couple Bulldogs here, the Guardians, they make it a really strong buy as well to work with not only for this round, but potentially the next one if the Guard are able to secure it, keep those guns alive.
Wow, okay, it's a classic to hop his way into the kill feed right behind Thule. Spike is planted. And what do they have for the post here? Not a whole lot to get him off as the Nano Swarm goes through. That might be the last bit of utility from Net to try and delay. Guardian into the hand of Tex. They'll find one, now needing to find some more, and that's exactly what it's done. Health is low, refresh on the paint shells, and that will be the round. Trent and Tex hand in hand to find that second of the half for the Guard.
Forcing the Nueva team just to push right towards main where everybody else is on the Guard, and at that point you're meeting a crossfire, one right, one left, and just seems impossible even tapping it. As the util is just no longer available. So the second round goes to center here for the Guard. And yeah, they're able to keep a couple of those rifles that I talked about, even a little bit more than that, getting even ambitious with it. 2 rifles, 2 of those Vandals that they're gonna have for this one.
Early pressure towards the C site. Boombot goes out, and that spike heads another direction for the Guard.
This is a buy that we've seen from the Guard before. They really like to bring in when you have 2 Vandals. You're gonna have 2 of the half buys this time around with the Guardian and with the Bulldog, and 1 just a pistol. They're usually good for it too. That is what's scary about it. But Rukoide just gonna make it so much harder. Your net goes down.
Yeah, net falls, and I mean that was a rifle, so it's on the wrong side of the map. Jonah P gonna be carving his way through this A site with just the Sheriff. Beautiful timing there from the util. They try to match back and forth with the span. That snakebite gets a little wild from Jonah P, and the rest of the defense is here. Misu tries his hand, but Valen sits him down. David's now in the back line, stuck inside tree, no way out, but in way of death.
Player standing.
And Valen has the high ground. I mean, Valen forced a rifle into this round, and this is why. He started the game, I'm pretty sure, 10-1 at one point, and he is not letting up.
There were 2 rounds back-to-back where he was getting 3 Ks. I mean, the guy was just absolutely insane. And this is what he talked about. This buy is usually good for the Guard. When they have 2 rifles, you're able to secure 1 kill, especially for a round like this one. I mean, the way that they turn it around, net goes down on the other side of the map, and it doesn't matter. It all goes according to plan. As the time runs out, Rukoide just has to back up. It's gonna be the 9th round here for the Guard.
And tries to play containment to see if anybody will go down to the spike. It wouldn't have mattered. This was just a bonus round. I mean, that is exactly what you talked about, Dryad. Those are the rounds that the Guards just find ways to win. The swing rounds, the rounds that put your team on a reset, that refuse to give up any momentum. The Guard just continue to find ways to keep the pressure on. Now, we have already seen Nueva said they come back from this, from I guess what we could call this, deficit. With the morale being a bit lower, with them not necessarily having the wind in their sails, but they are running out of time to do so. It has to be right about now that they pick it back up.
Enforcing only Sheriffs for the Nueva set that on this defensive side, actually wanting to go in, look for a fight, but it's not going to be doable. So Rukoide goes for the dash, backs up, goes back to safety. The Guard early on wanting to contest this C site. They're playing around the map too.
I mean, they've done a good job just pulling this defense all over the place, making noise, making sure that Nueva Set never feels comfortable in the call that they've made for their positioning. Fortunately, Tuli has the space out towards A, so they know that it's not this way yet. But they're about to have the read.
And the flash, detects a couple players still. Gonna be just outside of the B site. But I mean, it's still a Nueva Zeta with the worst buy, right? Only with the Sheriffs, and they're usually good for a couple kills with it. But that still means they have to play back.
Yeah, B site now under fire. The Guard looking to end this way. Spike to be planted. Cam doesn't find the tag. They got on that able to make good off of that util, maybe find a kill. Turn it around for the team. For now, it's 10 alive, but Sheriffs to the 5. Nueva set the beautiful shot there. Great flash just in front of it. Trent now the next one up. Misu sits him down. The trades, they're favorable, but only for a moment.
No rifles.
Now the showstopper online. Yeah, no weapons picked up. It's still Sheriffs, and Tex is just playing the time game. Net to be run down. The backstab is there. Rukoida is gone. Thule follows, and the guard will hang on in this round. It got dicey, but at the end of the day, it means double digits for them.
And Nueva said that had 2 players alive. They need to pick up a couple of the rifles that were on the floor, but you cannot even get any space knowing the showstopper is active. So it gets and ends up getting that last kill. This double digit secure for the side of the guard. Just a couple steps closer, a couple rounds closer from getting that first seed of their group. From skipping one of those matches that everybody else is going to have to play here in Ascension.
And running out of timeouts. Nueva said they call their final. Yeah, first place spot. You know, there was a chance, and I was kind of hoping for it. There was a chance that both of these groups really got shaken up today with wins from the unsuspecting team, or the team that come into the series today with losses. If they were to find wins, it would put everybody at 1-1-1. Yeah, that was supposed to be our script. We could have gotten best of 1 tiebreakers. It could have come down to head-to-heads. It really could have shaken things up. Now, there is still a chance, but like you mentioned, the guard are just a few rounds away from not only cementing themselves at the top of their group, but earning that bye in the playoff brackets. That, you know, if you say this is just for seeding and that groups don't matter, I mean, you could not be further from the truth.
Everything matters, and it matters in different ways, right? A guard that would benefit from skipping that match, getting obviously that extra water view to hit with all the info that you get to see from everybody else. And this time around, pushing everybody back, making sure that aggression for the defense is not going to happen. But Misu goes down.
The timing, he didn't see, and there's a cloud burst down, and Net was inside of it. The Trailblazer went right by him, and look at the value. You give him an inch, and he'll take a mile. Net goes huge for the guard in this round.
Oh, the Nightfall now coming through, ends up hitting Thule. Nothing to do there, only a trade.
Last player standing.
David actually wanted to fight up close, also not going to work out.
And they're just taking fights at that point, 1 by 1. I said it for the guard, brick by brick. They did it around previously, and now with all these bricks that they've knocked down, there's not much of a wall defending. Well, they set that here, so a rifle save. That's the only ray of hope for Degata and the rest of the team.
Cage triggered.
And the guard are moments away from finding an 11th round.
It is exactly the same scenario that we saw for that map number 1, right? But it was a 6-6 half. Things were looking even, and then the guard, they just do not give away a single round to Nueva Zeta. Every single one, where they understand how the win condition is going to look like. I mean, he knew.
Remember, your weapon is only a tool. You can't just...
Not even that.
Coming.
The guard won't even give him that. There is... Now what? A lesser buy. There we go back to it. This was... that. I mean, that was crispy. Net shouldn't have got that one. Then we go back to a couple more duels taken. Yeah, he saw it coming. Just wasn't facing the right way. Lockdown now available for Net.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of kind of the confidence, the yelling coming from the guard. This is all just the experience as well that these guys have to. In situations like this one, when they need to get ahead, when they need to bring something new, like we saw with the TPs that VALORANT was bringing. I mean, they know what the green light is going to be.
And they muster up a buy in this one behind the blades of Rukoide. Here comes the lockdown. Misu trying to play in front of it. Good timing to find the first, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Oh, now they're starting to collect. Jonah P will find another. They gets caught opening that door, trying to play out through Mound. With the spike planted and a domain expansion here from Jonah P. How do you get back into it? This is a suffocating spot to be in for Nueva Zeta.
And another showstopper here. This time around from Thule. Does he get Does he find something? The Viper spit. So annoying to deal with, but yeah, Trent was at the bottom, ends up getting taken down. The time though running out.
And you just flip a coin in that situation, right? There's not a lot of tricky space to be inside the pit. It's either going to be high or low, but essentially it'll be on site. He sends out the rocket and he finds the target. It's just not the target I think that Nueva said they were hoping for. If they could have got the kill on Jonah P, that would have made it a little more easier to get back into that C site. It's not the case. So it's an ultimate used, but a round lost at the end of the day.
And a match point to a guard that is 1 round away from securing that #1 seed that they've been looking for. And they talked about it. VALORANT talked about it, how much this matters to them. Just getting 1 step closer. And 1 round away, as Nueva said, still fighting for it.
This goes here.
The Seeker's gonna be available here for Misu. The defensive side actually wants to push towards B, playing very up close, but there's nobody there this time around. It's on C.
Paranoia for Paranoia. Trent will find the first kill. Thule now erased. Flash from the opposite side. But nobody there to capitalize on it. They now gonna try his hand. Prowler reveals him. Cloudburst goes out. It's so scrappy out by Mound, but at the end of the day, it's the guard who finished the player ahead.
No fuel.
Yeah, but Thule being the one that goes down. The situation does get a lot more difficult. Thule has actually been able to bring quite a lot into these late rounds when he's alive. Well, there is this pain shows as well, or the space things to the satchels, but now it's quiet. Nueva said that on this defense. Struggling with the last bite that they have. I mean, it's barely anything at all. But it's something to stay alive here.
Oh man, I mean, this is Tex's angle. This is Tex's wheelhouse. He tries to find that duel against Misu, but just a little bit late. And the C site's been opened up. Only 1 defender was here, and now he's gone.
Another player going down. Both of the duelists not longer going to be alive for this run, and in the meantime, an attempt here to plant that spike, but doing a little bit more of what the guard was doing to them.
But it all comes down to 1. 12 seconds on the clock. Spike will get planted. Misu gonna try his hand. Finds 1 of 3. Needs to grab another 58 HP. A Tex around the corner. Can't find the spray. It's Jonah P to do it. And the guard will prove themselves the best of Group B. Second fiddle in Americas. But when it matters most, they get it done here in VCT Ascension.
And now they go back to looking like it was nothing. And then on the other side, you look at the faces of Nueva definitely defeated on that side. Nueva that had some really good ideas again on that second half, and it went the exact same way. The first half looking so competitive between the two, looking so back and forth. Yeah. But when they guard, they need to get ahead and they need to win those big rounds. They are going to do so. Today, I feel like could have been so different too. I was talking about the script, right? It was the first day, Brazil wins. Second day, NA. You'd think third day was gonna be Latin, but that's not really the case. No wins for Latin America, as it is NA and the guard actually taking the win.
Yeah, a big day for the guard, a big day for North America. But like you said, there were definitely glimpses of hope from Nueva this squad that did so much. Unfortunately, they just fall short against a guard team that just, when they need to win, they will win. Yeah. With that, we wrap up this series. We wrap up today. We're going to send things back to the desk to break it all down.
Thank you very much, Tanner. Again, a round of applause for Tanner. 2 days on broadcast without a muted mic. I would have never thought I would have seen it. Congratulations, buddy. Go run a victory lap around the office. It is going to be the guard who walk away victorious here in the series against 9Z. Unfortunately, they just didn't have an answer for what guard was bringing to the table. And honestly, man, this is kind of what we anticipated with the guard coming into this event. This team is so incredibly good. The skill ceiling is very high, and everyone has high hopes and expectations for this team. They were handpicked by the community as the #1 team to make it into Ascension, to make it into VCT Americas. And so far, the storyline seems to be playing out in that manner.
I feel like we really got to see a really textbook version of the guard where they're just playing off each other so well. Their retakes were just so clean. Like the only rounds that 9Z were really able to win was when they were able to kind of disrupt that retake process and didn't let them get set up and just like push them and be really aggressive. But other than that, when the half switched and the guard was on their attack side, their post plants were just so strong. And the fact that they were playing off the first bloods was really strong as well. Like they were able to get those first picks so easily.
At both times, same exact thing. If you actually look at the rhythm of both maps, you can see close first half. 9Z seeming to have an answer for what the guard is bringing to the table. Second half, it's all guard. 9Z just cannot even do anything about it. And that's kind of been the MO of this guard roster when it comes to their Lotus play. Their attacking side has been so incredibly destructive. If you let them plant, you will not have a good time.
Whether you let them plan or whether they're retaking the bomb side, they just seem so drilled. And I think from like a sort of outside perspective, guard must be a nightmare to plan against, right? Because you think you know what you're about to face. Boom, they pull out another comp out of nowhere, and they seem to play it masterfully, right? Like, how can you even prepare for things like that? Being 9Z, right? Like, it's just so impossible. But I mean, on the other hand as well, like 9Z had so many moments of brilliance. I completely agree with Dryad. I think 9Z had really good ideas. There were so many moments where they showed how drilled they were in their takes and their executes and clawing back disadvantages. And there's so many instances where 9Z could have put themselves forward, but of course, losing both pistols, getting thriftied, and as well losing multiple player advantage rounds, that doesn't really leave them with much room to sort of claw their way back into it.
We talked about it too coming into this, that the guard has been an oppressive team on Lotus. Looking back at their old comp, they were very strong on the map up until that 13-1 destruction by M80 in the grand finals of playoffs. So they swapped comps and they kind of stole one away from them. They're like, hey, that works. I like that. I'll have one. And they take the comp, and it just works out really well. The team definitely seemed to gel around this Raze combination. It does feel like this map works pretty nicely for a Raze, and Tex didn't seem to have any issues. There was not a single hiccup for the team as they just kind of coasted through the victory there once they got to the attacking side. So kudos to the guard. They are now your #1 seed from Group B. They did what M80 was unable to do. It'll be them and the Union who get the first round bye, so they'll get to watch the quarterfinal matches play out while they plan for their semifinal opponents. But we can take a look at the group stages just so you can see how everything happened here in the groups. Because again, Union tops their group 2-0 with a +4, the same as the guard. Neither team lost a map. We did not get a single 3-map series this entire event, which is disappointing. So far, we have all these teams coming and we can't get a third map. Come on, boys, let's go. But playoffs is right around the bend. Roy, I'm hopeful that we'll see a little bit closer games as the pressure starts to build.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be so many more mistakes happening as this tournament progresses. Like, two things are going to happen. One, they're either going to shed that pressure off their shoulders or it's going to get to them, right? Like, so either we're going to see more mistakes or we're going to see people really rise to that occasion. And this is like the perfect stage, right? The international, probably the first one for many of these players. This is a perfect opportunity for them to display themselves, display what they're here for, prove that they belong here, whether you're from LATAM, North, South, Brazil, North America, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's time to put on your best show. It's time to really rise to that occasion and just unlock your potential.
As we look at the bracket too, you can see the matchups now. Unfortunately, what this means is if M80 is able to best 9Z in their opener, we'll get an early NA duel. And the same could be said for the Brazilian region, is if 00 Nation bests Fusion, they'll be facing off against the Union, and it'll be a Brazilian duel. So it's a little bit frustrating for both reasons. I'm sure they'd love to delay that match until that upper bracket final, just give themselves a little bit more of an advantage, potentially guarantee either a Brazil NA final with one of those teams making it into VCT Americas. Because again, at the end of the day, there is one spot for grabs. It doesn't matter how good the guard and M80 have been for North America, or how good Fusion and 9Z have been for LATAM, how good 00 Nation and the Union have been for Brazil. Only one of these teams makes it through. So it is going to be a bloodbath when we get into the playoff bracket. All niceties will be set aside as these teams have one goal in mind, making it into VCT Americas, and some of them have been waiting oh so long to get there. That does wrap things up for us here, though, on the desk. The group stages are complete. We will be kicking things off with the playoffs tomorrow as we start the journey through the quarterfinals to see who will be crowned as #1 in Challengers, fighting next year in VCT Americas. We hope to see you tomorrow.
Yo, check it out. Want to know if the price of those Wave Runners is too good to be true? Or if I Wear My Kicks 49 is truly selling dead stocks? Or if that Jordan 1 Royal Box is original? eBay checks. See that little blue check mark? Behind it is a team of independent authenticators who check. And we mean everything. Every tongue, check. Every toe box, check. Every corner of every box, check, 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 check. Every logo, every label, every lace loop. Yeah, it's checked. The luster of the leather, the topography on the tags, to the straightness of the stitching on the sole. Everything you can see, and even some things you can't.
Really?
Then they tag them, log them in the system, box them up, and ship them out, with no cost for the buyer or seller. eBay checks, so the moment you open that box is as real gets.